So I wrote my thesis, my PhD thesis, on promoting youth entrepreneurship and SME development in Nigeria. And it was a multiple case study of 2 projects that I had worked on. So my thesis is what you would call a practitioner action research, a research that shows investigation into what you are currently working on or something that you've been part of. And so the question is, why did I conduct this research? As at the time I started this research, over $1 billion had been spent annually in Africa, including Nigeria, for 10 years. So that means between 2002 and 2022, when I wrote this thesis, $1 billion was spent annually on entrepreneurship development. And guess what? The entire economy of Africa is about 2.6 trillion or thereabouts, less than 3 trillion, according to the World Bank. Whilst the economy of California alone, with about 39 million people, the economy is about 4.1 trillion. Okay, let's put California outside. What about Germany? What about Belgium? The largest economy in the world, the USA, is about 30 trillion. So how can Africa with 1.3 billion people be doing a GDP of less than 3 trillion naira, $3 trillion? So that means there's something wrong with our productivity. And it shows in this entrepreneurship research. And we're even investing money in entrepreneurship education, and we still are not growing. Something is wrong. If you look at all the countries in Africa, look at their GDP, look at their numbers in dollar terms, it is not growing exponentially. So something is really wrong. I remember I talked about the economy of California. 10 years ago, California was less than 3 trillion US dollars, about 2.1 trillion. By 2015, California was 2.1 trillion. By 2025, California is 4.1 trillion USD. So there's something wrong. So these are some of the things that made me check. I used to work on a project where then it was the state of Maryland that had the equivalent of Nigeria's GDP, 200 and something billion dollars then. So our population is 212 million, and we have a young population of 70%. So that means that 75% of Nigerians are less than 35 years of age. We have a very young population. Unemployment is high, depending on where you're getting your data from, right? Is about, some say 33, some say 40, some say it's less than that. But whichever way we look at it, unemployment is still high in Nigeria because it shows in our numbers. So why did I conduct this research? To know, first, to contribute towards meaningful entrepreneurship development, because we have to change. So we are doing a lot, but something is not working. What can we do to make it better, right? And like I said, it's a practitioner action research, meaning I am an entrepreneur. I'm also faculty at an entrepreneurship development center, and I perceive that there's a lot we can do to change the SME ecosystem and youth entrepreneurship ecosystem. Entrepreneurship is not going to take away poverty. We cannot like someone used to say, we cannot entrepreneurship our way out of poverty. We cannot entrepreneurship our way out of lack of development. We have to do a lot. So I examined 2 programs that were working on entrepreneurship promotion. One was the BOI ESP program, and the other was an Oxfam Novi program. One program targeted experienced entrepreneurs who had been in business for a while the other was for startups, for fresh entrepreneurs, green entrepreneurs, right? And my problem statement, like I said, is why is it not working? What can we do? So I wanted to look at ways of making it more meaningful, interrogate the 2 programs I've worked on, and then identify areas of improvement. So if you follow me, you'll see that I'm always talking about how to do better business, what to do. So this is what I did with it. And I checked what motivates people to start businesses, and how do they fare when they start businesses? What happens when people go for these entrepreneurship programs? Are they sustainable or are they not? I did not want to use my own biases, but I just had questions because I observed certain trends. I see somebody come for an entrepreneurship program. When they are starting the business, they're very excited. Halfway they get stuck. And then they either go back to get employment, or some of them go abroad. As soon as they make some money, they go abroad. And I'm like, if we're supposed to be creating jobs, if we're supposed to be creating opportunities, you can't be traveling abroad all the time. You have to be back in Nigeria. And so that's why I conducted that study. And it took me about 24 months. So I did a lot of literature review. And in that literature review, it's like setting the tone to say, okay, what is even happening in the industry? You can't just condemn everything. You can't just say you want to bring in new things. What is happening there? You have to check, and that's the role of literature review. So I'm going to tell you about my literature review in the next video. What did I read? I read oh. I read a lot of journals, I read textbooks, I read magazine articles. I was just reading, and now I'm addicted to reading. So forgive me that I'm sharing this with you. I don't think I need to keep this to myself. I need to share with the world. You might just pick one thing. So watch out for what I read about in my literature review.